Have you ever wondered why billionaires almost never spend their money the way regular people do? Like, you might imagine them walking into a bank, pulling out millions in cash, and paying for things directly. But in reality, that almost never happens. So here's the surprising truth. The richest people in the world often avoid paying with cash entirely. And not because they don't have money, but because they understand something most people never learn about wealth. Let's break it down in the simplest way possible. What if I told you that billionaires don't actually use their money the way you think? They don't like to sell their assets. They don't like to convert wealth into cash. Instead, they let their money sit and grow while they live off something very different. Now you might be thinking, if they don't use cash, then how do they pay for luxury homes, cars, private jets, and expensive lifestyles? That's where the real secret begins. Most billionaires don't spend money. They borrow against their wealth. Yes, you heard that right. They take loans, using their assets as security. Let's make this super simple. Imagine you own a painting worth $10 million. You don't sell it. Instead, you go to a bank and say, "This painting is worth $10 million. Give me a loan using it as guarantee." The bank agrees and gives you money. Now you have cash, but you still own the painting. That is the key idea. Wealthy individuals don't see credit as debt in the way most people do. To them, credit is a financial instrument that unlocks opportunities while preserving ownership of appreciating assets. Instead of liquidating positions, they often rely on structured lending facilities such as margin loans, securities-backed lines of credit, and private banking arrangements designed specifically for high-net-worth clients. These tools allow them to maintain exposure to long-term growth while still accessing liquidity instantly. The key advantage is flexibility, because assets remain invested and continue compounding even while being used as collateral. Banks also prefer this model, since collateralized lending reduces default risk significantly compared to unsecured loans. In addition, wealthy borrowers often negotiate lower interest rates due to their strong asset base and diversified portfolios. This creates a system where money becomes fluid rather than fixed, allowing continuous reinvestment into new ventures or opportunities without triggering taxable events from selling assets. Another important aspect is risk management, where borrowers maintain conservative loan-to-value ratios to protect against market volatility and sudden downturns that could affect asset prices unexpectedly over time. This disciplined approach ensures stability even during uncertain economic cycles, while preserving long-term wealth accumulation strategies across generations of families and institutions alike that benefit from compounding growth dynamics in global markets today, where capital efficiency matters more than ever before. In modern finance systems, shaping investment behavior worldwide, especially among ultra-wealthy investors who prioritize strategic allocation over short-term liquidation decisions that could undermine future upside potential in rapidly evolving economic landscapes, influenced by innovation technology and global capital flows that continuously redefine what wealth actually means in practice today. Beyond simple cash holdings or spending power alone, making financial literacy essential for anyone seeking to understand how modern wealth systems truly operate at scale, across economies and industries worldwide. Long-term value. Billionaires do this all the time, but on a massive scale. They use stocks, real estate, companies, and investments as collateral, and instead of selling them, they borrow money against them. But why not just sell and use the cash? Why go through loans? Here's the answer. Because selling creates taxes, and taxes reduce wealth. But borrowing does not count as income in many cases, so it is often not taxed the same way. That means billionaires can access huge amounts of money without triggering massive tax bills. Now let's pause for a moment and think about that. If you had something worth $100 million, would you sell it just to get cash? Or would you rather keep it and still live comfortably using its value? That's exactly the mindset shift. For billionaires, wealth is not something they spend. Wealth is something they use as power. Now let's go deeper. Another reason billionaires avoid cash spending is simple. Cash loses value over time. Due to inflation, money sitting idle becomes weaker every year. But assets like real estate, stocks, and businesses usually grow in value over time. So while regular people save money in banks, wealthy people store money in things that increase in value. And when they need cash, they don't sell, they borrow. Let's make this even easier. Think of it like this. A regular person earns money, spends money, saves leftover money. A billionaire builds assets, uses assets to borrow money, lives on borrowed cash, while assets keep growing. Completely different systems. Now here's something most people never realize. Even when billionaires borrow money, they are not under pressure like normal borrowers. Why? Because they are not relying on salary or income to repay loans. Their assets themselves keep growing. So banks are actually very comfortable lending to them. Because from the bank's point of view, it's low risk. If someone has billions in stocks or property, the bank knows they are safe. Now you might ask, isn't this dangerous? What if the assets lose value? Yes, that can happen. And it has happened in history. But billionaires usually borrow carefully. They don't take 100% of their wealth. They might borrow a small percentage, like 10% or 20%. That way, even if markets go down, they are still safe. Now let's talk about something even more interesting. Sometimes billionaires use loans for everyday life. Yes, even luxury spending. Instead of selling stocks to buy a mansion, they borrow against their portfolio. Instead of cashing out shares to buy a yacht, they use credit backed by assets. This keeps their investments growing while they enjoy life. Now imagine this mindset for a second. You have a tree that produces fruit every year. Would you cut the tree just to sell it for wood? Or would you keep the tree alive and just enjoy the fruit? That is exactly how wealthy people think about assets. They don't want to kill the tree. They want to keep it growing. Now here's another powerful reason behind this strategy: time. Wealthy people understand something very important about time. Money sitting in cash is idle, but money invested grows with time. So they prioritize long-term growth over short-term spending. And borrowing allows them to do both. They can enjoy life now, without stopping their money from growing. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Many billionaires also reinvest borrowed money. They use loans not just for lifestyle, but for more investments. This means they can expand wealth even faster. It becomes a cycle. Assets grow, borrow money, invest more, assets grow even more. This is how wealth multiplies at the highest level. Now let's come back to something simple. Why don't regular people do this? The answer is risk and access. Banks don't give large loans easily unless you already have large assets. And most people don't have enough collateral. Also, most people rely on income, not assets. So the system works differently for them. But understanding this concept still changes how you see money, because it shows something important. The rich don't just earn differently, they think differently about money itself. To them, money is not something to hold. It is something to move, grow, and leverage. Now here's a question for you. What if everything you've been taught about saving money is only one side of the story? What if real wealth is not about how much cash you have, but how much value you control? Let that sink in for a moment, because this is the shift that separates financial struggle from financial freedom. Now let's talk about a misconception. Some people think billionaires are avoiding taxes illegally, but that is not what we are talking about here. This is about legal financial structure. Loans, collateral, and asset-backed borrowing are all legitimate tools in the financial system. The difference is simply knowledge and access. Wealthy people understand how to use these tools at scale. Now let's bring this back to real life. Even if you are not a billionaire, you can still learn from this mindset. You can start thinking about assets instead of just income. You can think about building things that grow in value over time. Because wealth is not just about how much you earn. It is about how long your money works for you. Now imagine this. Two people earn the same salary. One spends everything. The other invests and builds assets. Fast forward 10 or 20 years. Their lives look completely different. Not because one worked harder, but because one understood how money works differently. And that is the real lesson behind billionaire finance. It is not just about being rich. It is about understanding leverage. It is about using systems instead of just working inside them. Now, before we end, here's something important to remember. Money is a tool, and like any tool, it depends on how you use it. You can use it to buy temporary comfort, or you can use it to build long-term freedom. The choice shapes your entire life. And if you found this insight valuable, take a second to think about it. Because once you see money this way, you never really look at it the same again. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We bring simple explanations of powerful money ideas just like this, so you can understand how the world of wealth really works. Hit the like button, subscribe, and stay tuned, because the next one might change the way you think even more. See you in the next video.